fellow Movavi users? I'm Art, and back with some more of my Movavi tips. This time looking at some things I've learned working with green screens and Chroma Key. There's a lot that we can talk about when it comes to green screen and Chroma Key, and you can find great resources online to learn a bit more. But I want to pass along a few tips that I've learned. So for this shot, I want to put me in front of a background. Then I want to blur that background a little bit so that I stand out and add some depth to the video. And then finally, I want to zoom in at the end for that dramatic close-up shot. Now there's a couple of ways you can do this, but I'll show you how I did this all in one project. Let's start by getting some green screen footage. I've learned a lot about working with green screens over the last 10 months, but we'll talk about that in another video. And next, let's add our elements to the timeline. My background goes on the main video track, and the video in front of me in front of the green screen goes on the overlay track. So we'll start with the green screen video. There's a lot of things that go into getting quality green screen video, and most of that happens in filming, not editing. But once you're in editing, we will crop out our green screen image, then go to the Chroma Key tool and pick something close to your subject for the sample color, and play with the adjustments to get that best effect that you can. Now I use the arrow key so I can increment and decrement 1 degree at a time for most of this. And while I always do most of my editing in the low-key preview, this is one where I will check every now and then to see how things look in the high-vis preview. So then I'll use the overlay to adjust the size of my image. Now, there's some great videos on the rule of thirds on YouTube you can use to help with this part. And once you're set, let's move on to the background. Now, 2 options for blurring the background. One is to go to the filters tool, select blur, and then tilt shift bottom. I add that to my background and then click on the star to adjust the intensity. That will give you a quick blur to the top portion of the background, which gives a nice depth effect. And since my zoom will move to the top of the image, this will work pretty well. I wanted to have that background blur increase, however, as I zoomed in on me. So one way to do this is to copy that background, add it to another overlay track below my green screen footage, then go to the filters tool again and use the blur mild selection. Add that to that background copy image, and again go to the star to adjust the intensity. And now I'll double click on that background copy image and have it fade in slowly over time. Okay, so now I've taken care of my blurred background, and the final piece is to zoom the image. Now if I were to just zoom in on me, it would look a little bit strange without the background image moving at all. So the trick here is to zoom all your video elements at the same time. So let's start with the green screen. I will use the grid lines to set the final zoom size, and then I'll center that up on my subject. Then I'll go into each of my background images, the copy and the actual, and I'll do the same thing. You don't have to be perfect here, you just have to be as close as you can get it. And then with all that put together, we've got our final product, which is a great zoom in, close up final effect with a little bit of blurred background for depth to the shot. Hopefully that was helpful. Thanks for watching, we'll see you next time.